Okie dokie. Here we are back again at the Global PropTech studio in Amsterdam, and we will try to move on to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Klaas Pool from Hydraloop. Let me see if we can get Klaas on stage.
Klaas Pool is here.
Klaas Pool is here. Kijk, there you go.
One moment.
Are you ready? A little bit ready.
Yeah, almost.
Almost. Then we will just wait a couple of more seconds for you, Klaas.
Let me see. Hello, everyone.
Hey, hello. So we're going to talk about the decentral water recycling for sustainable homes, commercial properties in cities.
Let me share my screen.
Yes, really happy to have you with us this morning.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Hope you can see my screen now.
Yes. And if you put it in presentation mode, it's even better. Yeah, that's better.
Here we
That's
go.
great. Okay, well, I will give you the floor, and maybe afterwards we will have some questions for you.
I hope so. So, Hydraloop, act wise, use water twice. That's what we actually say at Hydraloop. And I'm going to tell you something about extreme decentral water recycling solutions for sustainable water smart building and cities. Let me see. A global challenge. The impact of climate change and demographic change are shaping our future and bringing new market opportunities. Well, people who live in the Netherlands and who follow the news a little bit note that the problem of drought is increasing, and not only in the Netherlands, by the way, but also, for example, in Chile, Brazil, South Africa, you name it. So there's an emerging water stress going on over the whole planet. Next to this, there is ongoing urbanizations. So our global population is growing and growing and growing. And in the next 30 years, over 2 billion extra people will be there here in the world. So the water problem is even becoming larger. This also means there's a global market opportunity for water recycling solutions such as the Hydraloop. So, as I already mentioned, act wise, use water twice. And we say at Hydraloop that every building has its own water source of lightly contaminated water. So if we look at a household, a home, you have one stream that goes to the sewage, and that is a combined stream of black water from the toilet, for example, and gray water from the shower, for example. And I don't have to explain you that gray water is far less contaminated than black water. So this gray water, we call this lightly contaminated water, which is relatively easy to treat. We can do this with the Hydraloop, and we can give this gray water a second life so that it can be used for other purposes, which you don't need drinking water quality for, because it doesn't make any sense, in our opinion, that we flush our toilets with spa blue. So we use this recycled water from the shower for toilet flushing, for garden irrigation, and for washing machine. And because of this, we can reduce our water consumption by 45%, and also purge less than 45% less on the sewage. Well, I don't want to make things too complicated, but there's also a lot of scientific substantiation claiming that gray water recycling is the solution for the global water problem, the global water scarcity problem. So if you Google on gray water, you'll find a lot of similar articles as well. So our solution principles. Well, first of all, of course, safety first. Hydraloop meets all the international standards that are there for gray water or water recycling devices that can be applied in households or in commercial buildings. And the water that we deliver meets the NSF ANSI 350 certificate, which is the standard that goes for the USA, but also for a lot of other countries. So it took us quite some time to obtain this certificate, but finally we were granted it in 2020. So what I actually try to say is safety first. We meet all the international standards that are there for gray water recycling solutions. Secondly, low in maintenance. The system cleans itself, and we don't use any filters, membranes, or chemicals. Well, chemicals, I don't have to explain you why we don't want to use them, but we also do not want to use any filters or membranes because they start to foul, they start to clog, and they require maintenance. So we want to avoid using them. So our system cleans itself fully automatically. Also important, an automatic backup procedure. For example, if you didn't take a shower in the morning, but you would like to flush your toilet in the evening, it means that you don't have any recycled water available because you didn't shower. So in such cases, you would like to have a backup source. And this backup source is tap water. So the system can automatically switch back to tap water in case there is no recycled water available. So there is always water available for your toilet flushing. Well, minimal footprint. The Hydraloop doesn't require a lot of square meters. It's a compact system. Well, the floor space that you need is 34 centimeters by 80 centimeters, so very small. It's modular design. This actually means that, I'll come back to that in the later slides, you can also put multiple Hydraloop systems in line, which we call a cascade. So the system is modular, which means that it is scalable until as many units as you want. So you can put as many units as you want next to each other, making the amount of water you can recycle even larger. Internet connectivity, well, also very important thing in today's world. All our systems are linked to the internet. And because of this, well, it's useful for smart home appliances, but also very helpful because of being connected to the internet is that we can provide over-the-air software updates, but we can also, let's say, give proactive remote support and proactive maintenance advice, which means that if something might go wrong in the future, we can already trace those potential problems beforehand. Well, how does it actually work, the Hydraloop? Actually, this image that you see on the screen says it all. What we actually do is we collect, as I already mentioned, the lightly contaminated gray water. And this flows down, and in this situation, it flows one floor down to the Hydraloop. You can see the Hydraloop standing on the ground floor. This is where the gray water is collected and also treated inside the Hydraloop. And after that, you can see that two toilets you can see, the washing machine and also the rainwater tank are fed by the recycled water of the Hydraloop. And this is actually a schematic overview of how it actually works. Well, let's go a little bit more into the technology. How does it actually work? Because I already mentioned that we do not use any filters, we do not use any membranes, no chemicals. So how does it work? Well, we use 6 different treatment technologies, which already existed for a long time, but actually there was no one yet who tried to combine them. And Hydraloop was the first to do that. And that is what makes this so unique. It's the combination of those 6 technologies that makes this technology so unique. So how does it work? First step is sedimentation. So sediment is collected at the bottom of the tank. If you throw a handful of sand in a glass of water, that is sedimentation. And you can see in the image where this step takes place. Second step is flotation. So the floating dirt, the particles that are lighter than water, they will be rising to the surface. And after they have reached the surface, they will be purged via a central skimmer into the sewer. Step 3 is dissolved air flotation. So next to the heavier particles and the lighter particles, you have also particles that have the same weight as water. We help them upwards with help of tiny air bubbles, which start to flow to the surface. And on their way up, they will be attached to all those tiny particles, and they will be rising to the surface. And what you do combined with this step 3 is, well, the big question in gray water recycling is always, how do we get rid of all the soap and shampoo remains? So what you actually do is when you add a lot of tiny air bubbles in the bottom of the unit, you create a layer of foam. And this layer of foam is all those soap and shampoo remains that you wanted to get rid of. So this layer of foam is traveling upwards together with all those small particles. They will be gathering at the surface of the unit, from where they will be purged into the sewage again. Well, then step 5 is, well, everything we could see now is taken out. And now we go to step 5, to our bioreactor. And what happens is in this bioreactor is actually that microorganisms, they start to become a culture in this bioreactor. And they start to eat all the particles that we could not get out yet. So you still have some kind of milky water, and you want to get this clear and safe to be reused again. So these microorganisms help us with this. And what they actually do is those tiny particles, they serve as nutrients for those microorganisms. So they eat them and they turn this into sludge, and this sludge becomes sediment again. And just as in step 1, we take this sediment out and we purge it into the sewage. Then we have water which is really clear already, but of course we need to have it disinfected. So you can use chemicals for this, but Hydraloop prefers to use no chemicals. So we disinfect the water with a powerful UV light, making the water safe, clear, clean, and disinfected and ready for reuse. And we repeat this step with the UV light every 4 hours to also keep the water disinfected. Long-term operation, low maintenance, and user-friendly. Well, I mentioned already that the system cleans itself, and this goes fully automatically. The water I already mentioned that when you don't have any recycled water available, the system automatically switches to tap water. Well, you never want this tap water to be crossed with the gray water, because that could lead to people getting sick. So this water is separated from each other via a safe air gap. So this water can never be crossed with each other. After treatment, the water inside the Hydraloop that is treated will be distributed by a low noise water pump and controlled valves. So again, this pump is integrated in the Hydraloop. So this goes via the Hydraloop pump, the toilets can be fed. Backup water, I already mentioned the backup water. And the internet connectivity is already mentioned before as well. Hydraloop water quality, also mentioned something about this as well in the previous slides. On the left side of the screen, you can see the NSF ANSI 350 certificate. In the middle, you see a picture of a glass of water before treatment and after treatment, which looks very nice, of course, but the experts always want real proof. What is also good to mention is that our Hydraloop actually meets the new European standard for grey water recycling systems. So this is the European standard that goes for grey water recycling systems that are there inside the European Union. And what is nice to mention is that this European standard was actually based on the Hydraloop. So that's good to know, I think. Our product portfolio. Well, until now, we've sold many Hydraloop H300 systems. These are systems which were based on the the consumption of a household, an average household in the Netherlands. But we got a lot of requests of people who would like to have a larger unit, and especially these requests came from the United States, where the water consumption on average is double compared to here in the Netherlands. So this Hydraloop H600 has actually double capacity, and it's fit for families in the USA, as I already mentioned, but also for larger families in the Netherlands or small boutique hotels. You can also put these units in cascade if you want, so a larger unit. On the other hand, there's also a demand for a smaller unit. First of all, because there is less water consumed in a certain situation, but secondly, because there is not a lot of space available. So we are working on a unit which will be called Hydraloop Concealed, and this will be very useful for multifamily housing, apartments, and it actually means that the plumbing will become very easily for retrofit situations, because you can see that the shower, Hydraloop, and toilet is very close to each other. So this will be coming soon. Well, a Hydraloop cascade, very interesting for larger operations, such as hotels, office buildings, shopping centers, student housing, sports clubs, airports, mosques. So this is modular and scalable, made to measure. And I don't know if you can see my mouse, but what actually happens, and this image gives me the opportunity to explain it a little bit more clear. You can see that these are all Hydraloop H300 systems. So what actually happens in a cascade is that, imagine if this is unit 1, the water comes in here from a horizontal pipe, and unit 1 starts to fill up automatically. Gets full, and when it's full, the valve will close automatically, and unit 2 will fill up. In the meantime, unit 1 starts already treating its water. When unit 2 is full, it can also start treating its water, and unit 3 can fill up. And once unit 5 or 6 is filling up, unit 1 is already done treating its water. So because of this, the systems can help each other, and you can become even more efficient in terms of water recycling. Well, some images of some happy customers we have in the Netherlands, but also outside the Netherlands. Yeah, think global and act local product and partner strategy. We actually put our solution in the market in foreign countries with help of our partners. We collaborate today with over 110 local sales, distribution, and service partners. In the meantime, I believe this is even 130 or over 130. And these are partners from all over the world, and these can be consultancy companies who collaborate with installation companies. It can also be installers themselves, dealers, construction companies. So all kinds of partners we have all over the world, and I believe we have partners now in 50 countries. So that was actually very briefly something about Hydraloop. I could tell you an hour more about Hydraloop, but I thought let's keep it short so we have some space for questions. If you're still here, how do I know that?
Yes, for sure. Let me see how I can put back on my video. Yes, there we are again. That was very interesting, Klaas. You are you're one of the solutions that is really working globally.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So in which part of the world do you see this is really attracting the most attention? Because do you need to have a high water price? Do you need to have a shortage of water? Where do you see this happening?
The first thing that you think of is, of course, that there would be a shortage of water, and then the first parts of the world you think about would be California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, but also in the Middle East, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of drought going on over there. Australia as well.
Yes.
So these are very high potential markets, you would say at first hand, and they are. But there is another factor here, which I would like to highlight as well. The first thing you think about is, of course, drought, water scarcity. But water stress is not only determined by drought. Water stress is also determined by sewage stress. So if we take a look to the Netherlands, a large part of the sewage system in the Netherlands has been designed in the 50s and 60s after the Second World War. Same goes for cities as London and Manchester. And what we can see going on in London and Manchester right now is that those sewage systems are overstressed. So the sewage systems cannot handle the large amount of water anymore.
Yes.
So I already mentioned that Hydraloop does not only save water because we recycle water, but what also happens when you recycle water, normally you would have a stream going from the shower into the sewage and a stream going from the toilet to the sewage. And now this is the same stream. So you will distress the sewage. So what is happening now in London and in Manchester and in other parts of England where they have so-called water stress, construction companies and real estate developers come to Hydraloop because they do not get the building permit. They have to obtain a specific water efficiency reduction And if they don't do that, if they can't reach that, they don't get the permit.
The
And they,
permit to start the development.
yeah, exactly. So it's not only determined by water scarcity, but also by this other factor of water stress. And this is very soon we will have this in the Netherlands. So in the larger cities in the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Denmark, you name it.
So actually all over the world, this solution can be brought into to developments.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We have a question from, I can't read his name very clear, Aiga. Have you installed a Hydraloop in some commercial properties like hotels, shopping centers?
Yeah, we did. Well, shopping centers not yet, but we are in contact with many hotels, also larger hotel chains who are very interested in Hydraloop because it helps them obtain, for example, the BREEAM certificate. So we are involved in projects with hotels in the Netherlands, but also outside the Netherlands. And this goes from smaller boutique hotels to very large hotels with plus 100 rooms.
Wow, amazing. Well, how can we help you, you guys out? What do you need from us? Because it seems like you're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, how you guys can help us out? Well, just first of all, if I can feel so free to write my email in the chat box,
Sure.
then I hope that some of you guys that are working on certain projects and have questions about water recycling or would like to know more about how to obtain a BREEAM certificate and how Hydraloop can help in this, or would like to have some more information on a specific situation in terms of water stress in a specific country, we can help you. So just send us an email and let's fix the water problem together.
Well, I think that's a great ending, Klaas. Thank you very much. Please type in your email address in the chat so people can reach out. And I see you already did. That's a great job. So thank you very much, and speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. See you, guys.
See you.
Bye.
Okay, that was Klaas Pool from Hydraloop.